On r slash ask Reddit, I just found this post and this guy answered this question and I found it really interesting. So I'm just going to talk about it today. He said, unprocessed trauma from childhood. As someone that is struggling with mental health, I'm only now beginning to understand why I do a lot of what I do. When our needs for love and acceptance aren't met, we seek out soothing behaviors that numb the pain. It's really easy to end up in midlife with no real idea what it means to be happy and feeling no connection to others. As you begin to work on your issues, you find that the soothing behaviors are no longer as soothing because you know why you're doing it. So you're stuck with the emptiness that you've always felt and no way to get out of that feeling. Then people were answering to his post here, and then they said, I just feel permanently triggered. My brain is hyper vigilante and doesn't know how to relax. The result is that I'm unable to relate to people on a higher functioning social level. It's hard to enjoy small talk when your brain is scanning for tigers. The resulting social failures only reinforce the feeling of isolation. And it's so true. Like whenever I've talked to people, like the amount of times I go like, oh, well, my hair doesn't look good enough, or, you know, I probably have long nails. And then whenever I give them a handshake, I'm going to like accidentally scratch their hand or something. And then they're going to be like, damn, he doesn't have personal hygiene or something. Like all of these things go through my mind, and it's just like a treadmill, you know, like it's just at 10 miles an hour, like just, you know, constantly going and going, and my heart rate is just pumping like crazy. And it's something that I definitely don't like at all, and it definitely comes from my you know, childhood and unprocessed trauma. And when I was in elementary school, I remember just not being able to fit in a certain group of friends. I can understand this guy who posted this a lot, just because, you know, whenever you just have these problems, unprocessed problems from childhood will just eventually end up getting to you, and it will completely probably just like devastate how you can be as an adult. Like for example, this one guy answered like, I can't speak to the other poster's trauma, only on my own. But unfortunately, it's not always that simple. My trauma is the murder of my father when I was young. Growing up in defense mode left me in a situation similar to that posted above. About half the time, it feels like I can't think of anything to say, and the other half, it feels like there is no point in talking. But that feeling of needing to be constantly watching for threats is always present. Sadly, the two conversational issues create a feedback loop that is quite difficult to break, and in my experience, always resurfaces eventually. And his trauma with his father's murder, I don't really know. Like he didn't go in depth about what happened or what was the situation, but I personally had this happen where I've had like a really like traumatic experience where my parents split up. And so when I was like 11, 12 years old, I was going through this whole divorce thing, and like I was barely starting to be a teenager. And I noticed that these things were happening, and I wasn't understanding exactly what was going on and stuff. Because I was, I guess, like, you know, still kind of innocent as to what the real world was like. But I ended up basically just for the rest of my life until now, I'm kind of like, this same problem resurfaces over and over again, where it's the fear of having a commitment issue, like a commitment, I guess, because I'm scared of committing 100% of someone, and then 15, 20 years down the line, I have, you know, my family and everything, and then boom, everything goes to shit, and I just end up alone, and then fighting for custody of my kids and all sorts of stuff. And, you know, divorce isn't really the most cheapest thing in the world. They're kind of expensive, or you know, sometimes they'll break you and stuff. And it's kind of like insane that those type of things are always going to resurface. And maybe I need therapy or something, or maybe it would never go away. But it's definitely something interesting. And obviously, whenever you don't have something that's not treated, your coping mechanisms might not be the most healthiest thing. You know, you might like to play video games to escape that reality, but then after that, you realize you're playing video games all day. You're not doing anything with your life. or you end up realizing that you like to, I don't know, go play soccer or go play sports, but all you want to do is just go play sports or go skateboard outside, and then that's all you're doing, and you're not doing anything productive. And then this guy answered saying, add on being an introvert, making any kind of social interaction exhausting, and you've got my shit cake. I've only got enough in me for one, maybe two significant social interactions. If both bomb, my whole night feels like a waste. I'll take my beer and talk to the bartender. At least I can pay them to be kind. It might be fake, but at least I can bank on one freebie to keep things from being a total wash. And then the guy that like is responding to him says, get a therapist. They will teach you coping mechanisms or give you some other tool. It's kind of insane being an introvert and then having like a lot of unprocessed emotions or trauma from your childhood can definitely ruin you. And I could definitely see that that has happened in my personal life. It definitely sucks, but you know, I don't really know if you guys can like relate to that type of thing. And I really hope you were able to stick through this entire video. It was definitely fun talking about these. And then let me know if you would like to have a bit more of, you know, this Reddit conversation format that I'm doing right now. I'm not so sure if it works, but I hope it does. I'm just trying things out. Thank you so much. This is KoLinZe signing off once again.